In this video, I want to talk about your reading assignment, which is to read the online article called The Cult of Chris McCandless by Matthew Power. I provided this article on our LMS system as a PDF so that you can use the accessibility tools there available through that platform, magnifying it or listening to it as an audio version. But if you're able to, I would really love for you to try to find the original version of this article online at themensjournal.com. And if you simply search for The Cult of Chris McCandless, Men's Journal, you should find it. And I want you to see how this article is placed in its online environment. The ads around it, how many they are, how intrusive they are. And if you're interested, going beyond this, it would be good for you to examine the Men's Journal to see how they're incorporating advertisement with the information that they're providing. Excuse me. There are other things I would like you to do. I would like you to do, number one here, Google Chris McCandless and learn about him before you read the article. See some pictures of what he looked like. See some of the photos that are archived online that are the selfies he took in the old-fashioned way with a tripod and a camera with a timer. And also take a look at pictures of the bus. What it was like in the photos that Chris provides. Then what it looked like as it went restoration. And even see if you can find photos of the bus being airlifted out of Alaska, of that site, that frontier site, if you will, and where it now is in a certain indoor building that is allowing visitors to come in a top tier level and look down on the bus through glass. It's sort of enshrined at this point. So those getting those visual information, those pictures in you, will help you keep the interest level up as you read through this article. It's a bit more of an extended article than the ones we've read heretofore. You know, we start off sort of easy with the earlier assignments, but now we're moving into more complicated and lengthy articles. And which is good. It's going to challenge you, keep you growing in your ability to take in larger chunks of text and understand what's going on. So getting some pictures in your mind of the characters of this article is going to help you stay connected as you read. All right. So the other things that I've listed out here is I want you to pay attention to and really notice as you read the article how this is working out. In fact, if you could write down these items on a small note card and then or take a picture of the screen with your phone, and then as you're reading the article, you look through these numbers and keep them in mind so that you can do them as you read. I want you to really pay attention to the critique model that is here. So this is a template, a model that you can use to write your own material. You can definitely write critiques about many things. Now, when we ask you to critique something, when a professor or an instructor or someone giving you a writing assignment says that they want you to critique something, you are engaging in an act of criticism. But criticism in its core sense is a neutral activity of analysis. It's not that you are criticizing in a negative way. It is that you are trying to understand exactly how that text is working, and you're trying to evaluate its goals and how it's achieving the goals. It's like a good movie review or a good book review or a good restaurant review even. It seeks to summarize and then to give the truth about some item or some text to a public that hasn't yet seen it for themselves, if you will. So the notion of writing a critique is something that you'll find in other classes as well. This skill translates and moves around into different assignments and different work situations, and it's basically your ability to review something, to give a performance review, to analyze something, to respond to something, to evaluate something. All of that is kind of under the notion of critiquing something. So if you learn how to do this well, it's going to serve you well. And Matthew Power gives us a great example of this. One thing that you have to do, you have to provide for your audience when you're writing this sort of approach, this critique, is that you have to assume, for the most part, it's safe for you to assume this, unless you know for sure that they've already seen the movie, that they've already seen the book, read the book, or gone to the restaurant, or whatever. It's sort of your job to first give them a summary of the thing that you're going to be talking about. And as you give a summary, you need to be objective and fair. Your opinions about it, whether you like it or don't, or think it's right or wrong or weak or strong, that needs to be kept out of the summary. You just need to be able to give the audience the main facts so they get the nutshell, the overview. They can understand what you're talking about, basically. And I want you to watch Power do this. Power does not assume that you know who Chris McCandless is. And he talks to you about the person and what the person did, giving you all this just basic neutral information. And then Powers also summarizes the debate that is happening. It's been happening for a couple years among people that are writing about this in terms of how did he actually die? What was his cause of death? That is still a bit uncertain, and people are presenting their opinions, and some are right, some are wrong, some are weaker, some are better, and Powers gives you summaries of both, right? He first says, hey, here's who Chris McCandless is, gives you the summary there, and then he says, oh, by the way, there's also a discussion going on about how he actually died. Let me summarize that for you really quickly. So there is the act of summary that happens first, and then once your audience is on board with what you're going to be evaluating, then you can get down to actually sharing your opinion, your evaluation of this, and then Power moves on to that towards the bottom part of the article. I want you to notice how he moves from providing straight up facts and summary to more of a personal response. He's willing to jump in there and give you some of ideas of his own concerning what really happened there and what's going on with Chris right now in terms of how we're treating him as a story. So the critique model is really good. It's really present here, and I want you to be able to see it work. And then it's an option for you down the line to use this in some of your writing. Now, the third thing I want you to do is I want you to watch how Powers references quotations. A great way to become a better writer is to watch good writers do their job. And Power is going to give you direct quotations. He's going to give you indirect quotation. He's going to give you lines from the journal found on the bus, lines from the walls of the bus. How does he do this? How is he using quotation marks? How is he using italics? And how is he also using speaker tags, which would be when you tag the speaker to the line that you're quoting. John Burroughs said, and then you quote. How does he do that, and how does he do it in a way that seems natural? All right. The other thing I want you to keep in mind as you watch Power do his job, be a good writer, is his vivid description, his ability to hold your attention. All right. So at the end of the day, a fundamental task of a writer is to create interest, maintain it, and reward it. And one way to maintain interest, fundamentally, is to pick the right topic to write about, one that's inherently interesting, but also to bring in the concrete and the detailed, so that as the reader reads the material, they can visualize specifically, as much as possible, the actual moving parts of the story or of the analysis at hand. So, this has to be done within reason, because sometimes you're talking about a philosophical thing or something that is a bit more abstract, and that's just how it has to be. But when you have a chance to properly bring in the description words, the concrete nature of the scene that you are writing about, it will help your reader feel involved and stay connected to you know the words that you're providing, the way that you were describing that, you know, part of the story or that scene. So be sure that you pay attention to the references and the vivid descriptions. Now, let's go down to some deeper issues here. All right, there are some main themes that Power brings in on his own after he gets done with the summary. All right, and he really talks about how we mythologize people. And I want you to just let this roll around in your head, keep it in your mind as you read this, but ask yourself afterward, how do you mythologize people and events, and how has our culture done this? How have we mythologized, for example, George Washington? How have we mythologized Lincoln? How have we mythologized Neil Armstrong? We can see that this scales, and that it has all sorts of different ways you can mythologize something, and basically that that is a core human activity, and it would be really good for you to think a little bit about that, and to use this essay to begin to educate yourself. You be in charge of this in terms of the ways we embrace mythologizing items and things in our lives, and how it helps us to take shortcuts in our own analysis, and whether that is right or wrong is also something to be considered, as well as, is it avoidable, or is it something that is just part of our necessary pattern of thought. The second main issue I want you to look at here is monetizing. How do we make money out of the stories we create? And how is this fair to the characters the story is based on, if it's a true story? How is this something that we all must do? The act of making money is a core American responsibility, I suppose. Good luck trying to live life without paying your bills. To what extent is this ethical? To what extent can it overstep? To what extent is Power, as he presents this essay, is he himself monetizing the story of Chris McCandless by placing it in Men's Journal and hoping for clicks and for readership? And the ads that are around the essay, what does that do to help monetize this? There are no clear answers here. These are deeper issues. It does not benefit us to not think about them. It also doesn't benefit us right away to come up with these quick and easy answers as to yes, it's right, no, it's wrong. It's complicated, and we need to think about it. And I want you to use this essay to think about mythologizing and monetizing. Finally, I want you to think about irony. And as you know, with our readings, I give you a short answer assignment for every reading, and I want you to write a paragraph on this. In what way is this essay ironic? All right, and you can certainly use the other core issues of monetizing and mythologizing to do so. I want you to go online and to find a good working definition of irony. There are a lot of different definitions out there on this, but find a few that allow this term to make sense to you. You'll be within the ballpark. Now, it is one thing for me to give you a definition right now, but that's not necessarily getting you engaged actively in the process of learning this word. Right now, as you're watching this video, I know I'm placing you in a passive learning situation. But if you use this list as you read, you become active learners as you are doing something to retain the learning. And so I want you to try to figure out what this word is. And I want you to talk to me about how you see irony in the second half of this essay, and in Matthew Power's goals with the essay, and the essay placement in Men's Journal, and what Men's Journal is doing with its advertising. And one hint to get you on your way is the very last line of the essay will get you on the right path, I believe, to write something productive and meaningful about irony. Good luck.